Who doesn't want to be successful, wealthy, popular, fulfilled in career, in life, in relationships, in business? And how many times do we get frustrated because we actually fall short? Sometimes, to be fair, decisions are made as a reaction and things happen that are beyond our control. But at other times, we make decisions that are haphazard, decisions that are a result of instinct and emotion, and we don't really think them through. What if there were a better way to make decisions in business and in life that would benefit ourselves and everyone all around? Hey, this is Mariella from E-Cono-Me, the place to be if you're an entrepreneur or a coach or an action taker that wants to get absolutely crystal clear on your focus, your core abilities, tap into that full potential and become the badass entrepreneur that you deserve to be and get the life of your dreams. And in today's session, we're going to be talking about the 10 ways to make a better decision all the way for your life and business. Now, sometimes the outcome of a decision can be good enough, but at other times the outcome can lead to disaster and we end up feeling frustrated and very unhappy. We could also suffer financial loss from bad decisions, and worse, sometimes we feel absolutely broken because the decision follows with breakups in our relationships, breakups in our business deals, breakups in our day-to-day communication with people that we care for, with people that we work with people that make life complete all around. So every part of our life actually is a relationship. We have relationships with our significant others, we have relationships with our children, with our siblings, with family, friends, but we also have very important relationships with the people that we work with, the people we employ, the people we manage, the people who employ us or work with us, or with anyone that we are dealing on a day-to-day basis. Are we competent to make decisions consistently? Do we really evaluate the cost of inaction when we fail to make decisions? Do we blame circumstances, bad luck, or find a whole lot of other reasons when things don't go well? Could we be making better decisions? Stick with me for my top 10 takes on how to improve on making decisions. Number 1, know your priorities and your core values. Find out what motivates you in life and get honest with yourself by knowing that that is exactly what you're looking for in your life. Are you looking for a lifestyle that's glitzy and fun and it's full of adventure? Or would you like to have a nice house with a pool, maybe a yacht, sport diamonds if you're a girl, maybe have your Rolexes if you're a guy? Would you like to be a social whirlwind and love the power and the attention? Or perhaps it's more important for you to be a homebody, to be at home, to be comfortable, have cozy living areas, watch your children grow up, have the sense of baking and flowers wafting around your living room. Are you looking forward to grow old with your significant other? What motivates you more? Both are good motivators, but both are going to require us to make very different decisions about the way we choose to live our life. They could have overlap, yes, but trying to live them both simultaneously is going to be absolutely impossible. In the end, we only serve one God. So choose the God that suits your value and make decisions and stay true to them. Remember that the grass is always greener on the other side of the pasture. So although either scenario is good and none of them can be faulted, and there is no right, there is no wrong, you still have to decide what your priorities are and what your core values are and what motivates you most in life. And then you have to decide without looking back. One of the biggest problems we face in life is that we always leave the back door open. And when we do, the other life that could interest us is always going to beckon. As I said, the grass is always greener on the other side of the pasture, but you have to decide which pasture you would prefer to inhabit. So check out your core values and make a decision that's right for you. Number 2, What is the magnitude of the decision you're making? How much will this decision impact your life? Ask yourself one very important question before you make any decision. Is this a big decision or is it a small decision? When you fully understood the value of the decision and how it's going to impact and shape your business and your life, then you can go and set about making it. Spend the time and the energy in executing your decision based on the magnitude of your decision. Small decisions require a small amount of time, small amount of energy. Big decisions will require more time, more thought, and more energy. Big decisions are usually the ones that you can't reverse. So always evaluate properly. How much will this decision have an impact on my life? How big is this decision? And once you determine the exact magnitude, then you can weigh out the outcome accordingly. Can you go back on a decision like this? If you see that it's not working after day, week after week, month after month, year after year, can you reverse this decision? How much impact is it going to have on your life, on that of your family, on that of your business if you need to reverse it? And depending on that answer, you evaluate how big the decision is. Always know what kind of decision it is and act upon it and give it your energy depending on the merit it deserves. Number 3, don't lose sleep over insignificant decisions. This follows naturally from the real perspective of the magnitude of a decision. Sometimes we agonize, sometimes we procrastinate, sometimes we fret over stuff that's just fluff. And that decision made is not really sometimes going to impact your life and that of others. Meanwhile, if you spend too much time over it, you could well lose the wood for the trees. You could put a lot of energy into it, then by the time you need to make very important decisions, very impactful decisions, you just don't have the energy anymore. Sometimes we actually wear out our family, our friends, incessantly talking about the same thing over and over because we can't make a decision. And we need to keep asking them for advice and what they would do in that situation. They give us their advice, and yet we fail to make the decision. Sometimes we have to make decisions very quickly. That way we will be able to get a lot done, because if you end up sweating over stuff that's not worth your time, you're only going to waste time, frustrate yourself, frustrate the people around you, and you will never become the go-to person that when someone needs your advice, they know that they are going to get clear and impactful decisions. The problem in these situations is that you end up using so much of your energy and it leaves you totally depleted, tired, and exhausted, and without resources, so that when the time comes for you to take bigger decisions, you're already destroyed and out of energy. You will have consumed all your fuel. So very important, don't lose sleep. Number 4, distance yourself from a problem by putting it in the perspective of time. Now this has to be one of my all-time favorites, because many times we look at a problem and we feel that the earth is going to crumble from under our feet. We can't breathe. And then we look at the same problem a week later, a month later, sometimes a year later, depending on how huge it was, and it pales in perspective. It doesn't take away the magnitude of the problem, but it just fades it in its intensity. And sometimes we even smile at the fuss we would have made. When you look at a problem that feels like it's going to take your breath away, like someone has kicked you in the gut, always ask yourself 2 questions. Question 1, how will I look at this problem realistically a day from today, a week from now, a month from now, or even a year from now? Will I start shifting my perspective if I had to look at it in retrospect? And number 2 is, can I look at this problem from a different angle? If you think in terms of food, you see packaging, you look at a package which tells you 90% fat-free. But if you really think about it, it's also telling you that it's 10% loaded with full fat. Which kind of perspective would you rather be looking at, depending on the ends to the mean? There's always another angle from which perspective you can see an opportunity or a problem. Make note that you should look at them both in terms of time as well as looking at it from another angle. Number 5, never underestimate risk. We can't eliminate risk. Walking in a supermarket today is going to expose us to risk because of the pandemic. But we already know that if we take the right precautions, we're going to be mitigating our risk. So entering into any decision without assessing risk is like entering into a lion's den that's not fed and without a whip, and not even knowing the lion. That could be courting a lot of trouble. But there is also another aspect to this, which is also very important. Sometimes we get absolutely comfortable with risk. Sometimes we tempt fate, we take a risk once, we find that we haven't quite been caught out, and then we take that risk again and again and again. The element of risk has not been taken out of the equation. What has changed is our perception of that risk. How many times have we pushed our health too much, ate too much, drank too much? At some point in time, our body is going to let us know. How many times have we risked with negotiations with dodgy people? At some point in time, this is going to backfire. How many times have we risked on traffic lights? It might backfire one day. How many times have we not assessed our tax risk situation properly enough and taken plunges? And at some point, this will catch up with us as well. One day, our life will catch up with us. And the only way that we can avoid this happening is getting too comfortable with risk, because we take unnecessary risks that we fail to remember that they were even risks in the first place. Risk is a necessary business. It's a given. But we have to take calculated risks, and this plays out in every part of our life, whether it's for business, whether it's for life. Weigh up your options properly and risk only that what you can afford to lose. Recognize risk and take calculated risk. Number 6, trust your intuition and go by your gut. Jeff Bezos says, all of my decisions in business and in life have been made with heart, with intuition, with guts, not always by analysis. Instincts are not part of our nature because of any coincidence or because they are random. They are there because over time, experience, and our genetic inheritance, we've come to be absolutely in tune with the danger that we could potentially be surrounded with in our life, small or large. We as human beings have always survived by gut instinct. It's our survival process. How many times have you looked at information, you've looked at data, and you see all the right answers mapped out, but something in your gut tells you there's something that doesn't quite play out well here. I can't put my finger on it, but whatever it is, if I didn't trust my gut instinct at that particular moment, I was always sorry. Sorry that I've made decisions on the fly without much information. But sometimes you get into a situation where you have to actually make them. For times like this, it's your gut instinct that's going to help you make the decision. Even if you've crunched all the data, even if your instincts tells you to look for more, then you have to be looking for more. This may not be a scientific reasoning, there's no scientific reason behind it, but you always have to heed what your gut instinct tells you. Therefore, if your gut instinct tells you to run, don't ignore it. It's your survival instinct which is surfacing to help you survive. Make sure that you listen to it and that you evaluate it properly. If you're uncomfortable with getting that cab, just don't get it. If a deal seems off, take time and evaluate a little bit more. Get more information. Ask people who have worked with this person. And if you get that phone call from a friend, and you really tap in more than what she's actually telling you, than what he's actually telling you, it might be worth bumping off that meeting. Trust your instincts. Number 7, use facts, not fiction, and don't get carried away with what other people tell you. When we hear a plane has crashed, we tend to not want to fly for a very long time. The truth is that passenger deaths on an airplane are so few, and the odds of dying on a plane crash are so minimal that they can't even be calculated as a percentage, as opposed to dying from a car accident, which is 1 in 106, or dying from heart disease, which is 1 in 6. So flying can seem to be a bad decision because a plane has just crashed, but if you look at the information, if you look at the data, it doesn't look like such a bad decision after all. Likewise, but on another perspective, you could be watching a video where someone is really good at talking, he's really fast and on the ball, and he is someone who is telling you to invest a couple of 100,000 or 1,000 cash, whatever it is that you can afford, because you could be doubling your income with zero risk. Your adrenaline might be pumping and it might be running high. However, you have to remember that you could be drawn in by a smooth operator. And if you want to make a good decision in your life and in your business, then you have to run a data check. One piece of information gives you total fear. The other piece of information gives you incredible hope. And none of them are correct. Therefore, look at data. Today, we're living in a world where we can tap on so much information just by hitting a button. Use technology to help you make more informed decisions. Check on people, check on information, run their names, run their titles, put scam at the end and see what comes up. You might be very surprised. I wish I had done that in my past. You will be surprised at so much information that's going to be rolling out, which might be positive and negative, but then at least you have your judgment to tell you that with the information that you have in hand, you are going to be making a balanced decision. So do your research properly. The bigger the decision, the more important it is to do your research. Data will help you become a lot more objective when you're making important decisions about your finances, about your business, about your life. Number 8, always weigh up your options properly. What you can gain, and also importantly, what you can lose by making a particular decision, have a lot of impact on your life. When you're thinking, should I, shouldn't I? You should also weigh out the best case scenario and the worst case scenario and try to reach a decision that's in the middle. It's hardly rocket science, but there's a tip that's going to help you. We are different. We are wired all different. For some people, the cup is always half full. For some, the cup is always half empty. But having the happy medium is probably what will make you make a more informed decision. So think of it this way. If you always see your cup absolutely full, think of what it could look like on the other end and find the happy medium. The same is if you always see your cup empty, think of what it could look like if it's full and arrive at the happy medium there. If you're looking at the worst case scenario, looking at the best case scenario, see where they meet in the middle, and that could be the best place for you to make a decision. Human nature, depending on your character type, tends to do the opposite. We tend to be either super pessimistic and we look on the dark side, or we could be super optimistic and always look on the bright side of life. So think of that proverbial glass. See how you should be seeing it. Not half empty, not half full, but somewhere in the middle. And that is the middle that should help you make the best decisions all around. Don't get overexcited or kill a possibility. Use the median outcome, and then you can make the best average decision in the circumstances. Number 9, do it scared. Distinguish the emotion of fear from intuition. Now, fear is a highly charged and emotional feeling. We all worry about our present, we all worry about our future, we worry about decisions that we've made in the past that are having a huge impact on our life today, because the way we conduct business, the way we live our life is based on the decisions of the past. Fear, however, is often an emotion that makes us anxious, and it puts us in a very dark place, whether it's hard to make a new decision and where it's going to let us be in a position that we're not objective anymore. Intuition, as opposed to fear, is not really charged with emotion. Intuition is based on an innate knowledge, and we are not sure how we get this knowledge, but it's a knowledge that is there. But it's not based by emotion. Fear and nerves can really hold us back, and our limiting beliefs feast on our fears. How many times did you fail to pitch to someone, but you knew that they might be waiting for the speech, but you were so afraid, you had fear of rejection, fear of thinking you're wasting their time, fear that you might be ridiculed, fears that really keep you limited. And how often do you fail to make that outcome call or outcome connection with someone, and you could have seen results that could have had a different outcome and a different result? Well, think, what if you made that call and reached out nicely? Maybe it would help both ends. What if it actually changed your life and their life and made an impact? Sometimes it's fine to do it scared. Sometimes it's okay to get outside your comfort zone, even if it means that you might have to pass up on some opportunities, that you have to talk to yourself, and that you have to take a deep breath and say, away with my fears. Number 10, don't get overexcited either. Like fear, excitement can take you down the wrong path for different reasons, but can be equally damaging. And in order to make a balanced decision, you're going to have to evaluate properly which side of the polarity you're usually at. I know for a fact that I'm on the optimistic side of the bar, so I have to take control of my excitement, I have to take control of my enthusiasm, because I end up diving deep and long into business, into life, into my social life. I end up inviting too many people for a spread at home, and in the end I end up exhausted. They give me a high, but more often than not, before the end of the session, I'm always questioning my own judgment and my own excitement. Therefore, verging on the middle of those X's, between being the pessimist or the eternal optimist, the fear and the optimism and the enthusiasm, you could chew and arrive somewhere in the middle and always have the better option of making sensible decisions. When you feel overconfident, when you're over-optimistic, when you're over-excited about something, it's like being drunk. It's like seeing things that are so colorful and that nothing will be able to go wrong. Like fear, when you know that it's there, you can deal with it. And you can take it down a couple of notches too. Sometimes when it comes to even posting a passing thought on social media, we should have a good look at what we're going to post and think twice. Unless it's going to be an intentional statement that is going to provoke feedback, weigh out the reactions that you might get and don't post instinctively. It might not be such a great idea for your personal branding and for your imaging. And finally, I know we've gone through the 10 of them, but if you're still with me, I am going to give you one bonus feature. Know when to cut your losses and embrace the fact that you might have made a bad decision. No one is unique, and we've all made bad decisions in the past. But carrying through our bad decisions can really have an impact on our mind, on our health, on our loved ones, on our life, on our business, whichever aspect of your life you look at. Whether it's a toxic relationship, whether they are toxic deals, whether they are workmates that you finally say enough is enough, I cannot work under these circumstances anymore. Sometimes you need to draw the line. And you have to remember, we all carry the weight of our own decisions, but we also have to sometimes shed the weight of decisions imposed on us by other people if this gets too heavy. Learning how to think and becoming confident with our decisions is absolutely essential to having a better outcome to our decisions. Now, if you've enjoyed this session, please leave a like and also subscribe. But for you badass ladies who want to become entrepreneurs, I invite you to join our group Lady Boss on Fire, where you will be getting so much more of this, as well as training, sessions, coaching, and we will help you structure your business. I'll see you in the next session.